You're watching LMCC, your community TV.
Hi, I'm Kellie Murphy-Ringate, and welcome to First Responder TV, your local public safety source, featuring training exercises, safety tips, and much, much more. Here's what's coming up on First Responder TV. It's important to maintain fire safety awareness throughout the winter. We'll talk with St. Bonifacius Fire Chief Shane Weber about how to ensure your home is safe on Safety Source. Ice is unpredictable and emergencies do occur. To prepare, the Excelsior Fire District trains every winter to respond to ice-related emergencies. We'll introduce you to Rick Altendorf, a Loretto firefighter who goes above and beyond on making a difference. And we'll give you an update on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area on Scam Alert. Hi, I'm Kellie Murphy-Ringate, and welcome to First Responder TV. I'm joined today by Shane Weber. He's the Fire Chief of St. Bonnie Fire Department. Shane, thanks for coming today.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Can you tell me how long you've been a firefighter?
Oh, I've been a firefighter for 15 years.
Okay, and where did you start as a firefighter?
Well, I started at Excelsior.
Excelsior Fire District.
I did, yes. It was a fun experience.
And then you went to St. Bonnie, and how long, and you've been on St. Bonnie for 15 years?
15 years on St. Bonnie, and then became fire chief, and I've been fire chief for 5 years now.
So today we're going to talk about winter safety.
Yes.
And we are going to start with talking about cooking, because cooking is the #1 cause of home fires in Minnesota and most of the United States. And we're going to talk about how to prevent that. And one of the ways of preventing that is not leaving your stovetop unattended. Is that correct?
Which is very common in the stove. A lot of people feel that they can walk away from cooking food, but we cannot do that. 50% of fires start right here in the kitchen. And unattended cooking can cause so much. If we have a grease cooking on the fire, when it reaches about 700 degrees, it will start on fire. And as that fire is going, it's going to reach up and start anything on fire. And what a typical person wants to do is there's two choices. They want to grab the pot and bring it to the sink. No, don't do that. The other choice is they want to put water on a fire. We keep teaching them to put water on fire. When grease is on fire, we do not do that.
Well, what people need to do is, of course, they need to grab something and smother that fire. They got to grab a pot holder and take that lid that fits that pan and come at it kind of like with a shield, and slowly and very calmly, which is kind of hard when you have a fire in your stovetop, is slide that lid right over that pot, turn the burner off, and walk away. And no peeking. A lot of people think, well, is that really out? You got to wait for that oil to cool down, because the second you introduce air to it, it's going to flare up again. Another thing that people can do is they can buy themselves some stovetop fire stops. Are you familiar with those?
Oh, the fire stops. Do you have them?
I do.
These are fantastic.
They are right underneath the hood of my stove.
There they are.
Yeah. And I grabbed the one from here so I could show the audience what they look like. They actually look like a tuna can, about the size of a tuna can. And what they do is, again, you hang them underneath your kitchen hood in between the burners. And what happens is when that fire flares up from that cooking oil fire, there's like a wick on them. And that wick starts on fire, and what it does is it opens up these petals on the bottom, and that releases the extinguishment powder that's in the stovetop fire stop. And as that happens, they shake back and forth, and that shaking back and forth across the burners is what puts that fire out, and it's almost instantaneous. One thing we could do is talk about keeping pets and children safe around the stovetop.
Absolutely.
So how would I do that?
Well, we think of a safety zone around where we're cooking or where there is fire. And with cooking, we think about 3 feet. If we're thinking 3 feet around the area, and we can teach our children that and keep our dogs away, but there isn't need, we don't have need, everyone thinks they need to keep these close. We do not. We can keep them in a drawer just so we know where they're at, the hot pads. But 3 feet around is what some people like putting decorations around, or
recipe books.
Oh, recipe books.
Cards.
They look so beautiful decorating, but we need to keep 3 feet around a cooking stove.
So anything that's going to be combustible, and when we say 3 feet, we mean like a globe.
Absolutely.
So we're done with the stovetop. Should we go over here and talk about candles?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about candle safety, because candle is one of the leading causes of home fires, again, in Minnesota and most of the United States, almost directly right behind cooking fires. And actually, candles and space heaters kind of interchange with being those top causes of home fires. But we're going to talk about the types of candles that are out there and how to keep them safe. Shane, you want to talk a little bit about what you've got in your hand?
Well, what I'm holding here is a tea candle, and they're very common, used definitely in the holiday season. What we find with the tea candles is people want to put them just about anywhere, on any surface. And what we need to remember is to not place these on a combustible surface. Well, what is a combustible surface? Wood, definitely. Very common, we'll see a tea candle laid on a table and lit, and these will burn down and heat up the surface and start this on fire. Not okay. So we need to make sure we put them on non-combustible. And you can see here metal, we can see glass.
Do you see how large these flames are in this candle?
Yes.
What we suggest people is just trim those candle wicks. You blow it out, then trim them, and when you light them up the next time, you won't have as large of flames, and those large flames won't put off so much heat. Now, an alternative to using candles is, of course, the flameless candles. And up until now, I bet the audience thought that this was a real candle, but it's actually a flameless candle. You can turn it on and off, and you can put it anywhere. We have these candles aligned on the countertop here.
Yes.
But we're keeping them very clear of this cabinet.
Yes, and the candles also have a safety zone, just like we were talking with cooking. With cooking, it was 3 feet. With candles, it's 1 foot. So if we think of keeping decorations, typically the napkins, the draperies, definitely under the cabinet. We need to keep that clear of the candles.
So if you practice these, and again, don't leave a candle unattended like cooking oil on the stovetop, you want to keep these in the room with you. I tell people, treat them like a toddler. Would you leave a toddler in a room alone? Of course not. Well, you don't want to leave a candle in a room alone either. You want to blow it out before you walk away from it. Wow, it's kind of cold in here. What are you doing, Shane?
It's drafty. I'm trying to warm up here.
Oh yeah, it's an old house, but I don't think you have that in the right place.
What do you mean? What's wrong with this?
You should have at least 3 feet of clearance around that space heater, because you can't have them near any combustibles, and you've got that really close. You got to give space heater space.
A lot of people want to get them close to their furniture when it starts getting cold out. They get them close to their toes, close to their blankets.
Close to their pipes.
That's for sure. And draperies, we have to keep these clear of that.
Should you keep like the stovetop and like candles, should there be a safety zone for pets and kids too?
There is a safety zone of that 3 feet. Yes.
So it's a matter of training the pets and the kids just to stay away from stuff like that.
And the kids are going to be drawn to it.
You know, if you have things like this, buy newer ones, because safety features are built in. So Shane, let's talk about the fireplace and what safety things that we can do to prevent any type of fire related to a chimney.
When we think about fires in the fireplace, we have to think of using the right wood, the right fuel. And a lot of people just want to throw in anything, but when we use soft wood...
Like willow?
Yes, like willow, even wet wood.
Oh, green?
Green wood, the pine. What that does is it burns, creosote starts forming in the chimney, in the chamber, going up very quickly, as opposed to hardwood. So we encourage hardwoods all the time when we light.
And dry hardwoods.
Very much. When we do start the fire, when we want to light it up, the first thing we need to do is open the damper.
Oh yeah.
I've been to a few fires where we've been called to homes where the homeowner has not opened the damper. Please open the damper before you start the fire.
Yes, you should have a little draft down there too.
Yes.
So I got a big screen here.
Yes.
And this is a non-combustible screen that covers the whole fireplace.
We need to make sure we have that protection.
That safety zone.
Absolutely. And it's usually about... Do you remember the number?
3 feet?
It's 3 feet. And we can see here a 3-foot globe around here. This looks very well secure.
What about people that have gas fireplaces that have gotten rid of the wood part and just put an insert in?
Some people like that over the wood. With gas fireplaces, we need to think of carbon monoxide. We need to think of the fuel coming in. Unburned gas produces carbon monoxide, and that is very harmful to us and our bodies and our pets and our children. So something we could do is have someone check that, have a professional come in.
So when they come in and check my water heater and my furnace, and if I have a gas-fueled fireplace, have them check that too.
Make sure they check that.
What's one of the things that we can install to make sure we get early warning that there's a fire?
Well, smoke detectors. And there's laws in the state that homes that are built need to have their smoke detectors, one in every living space. So like in this level, we have a bedroom over here and a bedroom behind me. So each of these rooms need a smoke detector. And then this is a common space right out in front of them. So there's a smoke detector right out here.
Can my smoke detector, can I have it for like 20 years?
Some people think that. Smoke detectors only last 10 years and then they need to be replaced.
And how long, when should I replace the batteries in my smoke detector or test it?
Well, there's been some talk about whenever you change your clock, you change your batteries, but once a year for sure.
Change the batteries, but
Change
test
the
it
batteries,
every
yes.
6 months?
You could easily test it.
We also need carbon monoxide detectors to detect carbon monoxide.
Yes, and carbon monoxide, like we talked about with the fireplace, with the gas inserts, is a byproduct of gas. And gas would be could be a stove, could be a furnace, it could be
Water
the fireplace. Oh, definitely the water heater. And those could produce a carbon monoxide. So you can see we have one here, and the place to put them is within 10 feet of the living space. Of
Sleeping
definitely the
areas.
bedrooms. Yes.
And another thing, people shouldn't, if they have an attached garage, they shouldn't run their car to warm it up in that
but
attached garage.
I get what they're thinking. They want the car warm, so they step out and they push that electric start and they open the garage door. There's a lot of fresh air coming in. I'm sorry, that carbon monoxide is coming right in the house.
Right into the house. And a lot of people, when they lose their power, especially in the winter, use generators. And they shouldn't have those anywhere where human beings or dogs are going to be in an enclosed area. They should keep those outside.
That is true.
What do we do if a fire does occur in our house? How can we help the firefighters fight that fire that's in our home?
That's a great question. Homeowners aren't sure what they can do, but one simple thing they could do is there's a fire hydrant out near their home. We need to keep those clear because our fire trucks are pulling up, and fire hydrants are sometimes easy to spot, but if it's buried under snow, we cannot find them. And then we're wasting time to find that fire hydrant. So if a homeowner could easily just take a shovel and just shovel around the fire hydrant, and there's a number of how big of that space should be. Do you have a guess?
Could it be 3 feet?
It is 3 feet. It's like a safety zone around a fire hydrant. 3 feet around the fire hydrant. It allows us room to get our hose right up to it. It gives us workspace to spin it off and to hook right up to it.
Thank you very much, Fire Chief Weber, for coming out and talking about winter safety with me and our audience.
Well, I just thank you for the invitation to come out here and talk about winter safety with the stoves, with candles, with space heaters and fireplace and carbon monoxide. All those are things we need to review every winter as we try to be winter safe.
Thank you, Shane. We'll be back with more First Responder TV in just one moment.
We interrupt this program to bring you this important message.
The Lake Minnetonka Communications Commission, located in Spring Park, Minnesota, offers free television production classes. You heard it right. Free, free, free. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help bring your idea to the big screen.
Why, thank you. We are very friendly and knowledgeable.
From studio lighting and nonlinear editing to on-location shooting, we'll guide you down the path you need to succeed. Hurry in, folks. An opportunity this good won't last forever.
Different words describe different people. But in the eyes of the law, there's one that fits us all. Human right number 7. We're all equal before the law. What are human rights? Find out at youthforhumanrights.org.
Welcome back to First Responder TV. It's important you know the recommended guidelines for ice thickness when you're venturing out onto a lake, pond, or river. You should also be prepared on what to do in case you break through the ice. In this nationally award-winning segment, the Excelsior Fire District trains on how to respond to emergencies on the ice.
We have a person that is in the water. It's cold. They're getting hypothermic here. Water Patrol has arrived with their airboat. They're going to try and get the victim out of the water with it.
Water Patrol is entering the water.
The people on shore here will be talking to the victim in there, trying to keep them calm, keep them alert.
Remember falling in the lake.
Before we ever send anybody in the water, first off, we're always going to attempt to try and throw something or reach something out to try and bring that person in. Once they get them in, then they'll take them to shore to an ambulance that'll be waiting there. We're practicing with Water Patrol on our own boats to see how this works. Their boat is really new for them, and our boat's really new for us, so this is the first time we're doing this. We're seeing how they work together.
Since we have one victim in the airboat.
We actually set up a unified command with Water Patrol and our people. They're not even on the premises or right here, but they're sitting somewhere getting a visual picture from our people that are here and making tactical decisions as to how we're going to go about getting people out. The other thing is actually getting the hands-on work with the firefighters out here to help get the people in and practice their skills out here in the cold weather suits and stuff out in the water. We're training a new person as to how they work, how to float in them, how to get around in them, because it's quite different than just being out in the water normally.
Okay, we're gonna need some help down here on shore to get him up and out.
Being a volunteer department, we don't know who's all going to show up, so everybody's kind of got to be trained, getting people that haven't been trained, getting them used to this, so they're not going into something completely dark. They actually know what they're doing and can have a good comprehension of what we're asking of them.
Excelsior, boat 21 to command.
First off, you should never be out on the ice alone at night. If you get out, after you're in an incident like this, just call somebody and let 911 know that you've gotten out of the water where you are. Within 2 or 3 minutes, you're already starting to get hypothermic, starting to not make good sense because it's raining and everything that's going on here. I mean, you're wet, and the biggest thing you got to do is you got to get that wet clothing and stuff off you and get somewhere and warm and dry.
The victim thinks there was one more person and he thinks they're in the water.
Even if you do go down, there's a really good chance that we can get you revived, because the cold water slows everything down in your body to the point that you can survive for quite a while underwater.
Grab on that board.
Can you feel your legs? Are you able to help?
I think the biggest thing is working with the Water Patrol and with these pieces of equipment that we have here, getting it so that we can get these things more refined, so if this does happen, we're on top of our game. The Excelsior Fire District we have out at our Station 2, which is in Deep Haven, we have what we call Boat 21, which is a hovercraft.
Second victim is boat 21.
It's basically a vehicle that has an engine on it that runs a big fan. It floats on a cushion of air, and so it can go on the ice and off into the water and everything. Water Patrol, they have a fan boat. It's very similar to that, except for the fact it's actually an aluminum hulled boat and it's just propelled by a fan, so it doesn't ride on a cushion air. It's actually riding on the aluminum hull on the ice and off into the water.
Is he in the boat? He's in the boat.
With the lake conditions, with having ice and water and everything, especially the changing seasons, you need to have equipment like this to get out here on the lake and do this.
1706, if you could just stand by.
When you do get out, you need to call 911 and say you're out, so we're not looking, because the next step after this is they're going to call divers in, and divers will come out and start diving looking for you, because if we can't find you around the lake just by going around, that's going to be the next step, because we're going to assume you're in the water.
Excel Marina loading the victim into the ambulance.
When we come back, we'll give you an update on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area on Scam Alert. But next, we'd like to spotlight a member of the community that goes above and beyond in our segment, Making a Difference. This month is Loretto firefighter Rick Altendorf.
The truth is, I'm honored. I would have to say, though, there's plenty of guys before me, you know, who've since retired, and plenty of guys on the department now that deserve this time, too. I joined the department in November of 1981, so that puts me at 32 years. Back in 81, I had friends on the department. They asked me, they said, well, do you want to get on the department? And I said, yeah, why not? So I guess that night I got a pager, and it's the do-good aspect of it all. The countless hours of training you put in and everything, and it's exciting, it's challenging, and you know, when you're the one that responds to the scene of potentially somebody's worst day, and you put your hours of training together and along with, you know, all your crew members and your whole department to try and make their day better. It's very rewarding work. I just, you know, like to point out that we got a lot of young guys coming up, and I like to mentor young guys, basically to try and train guys, you know, to take over for us someday. And I really enjoy, you know, mentoring these young guys and gals and see them progress through the fire department and, you know, eventually become leaders. When you train as much as we do, and, you know, you get the group of guys together and you realize what you can do, you know, if you put your heads together and stuff, to respond as a group and to try and make someone's day better. And if you didn't give 110% to try and strive for that outcome, I guess I would feel like we didn't do our jobs. I was born and raised in the community. I raised my 3 kids here. One of my boys has actually gone on to be a firefighter in a neighboring town who we work closely with. The community's good to us. They come to our, you know, they support us, fundraisers, open house, you know, they all show up and help us out. So to me, a strong community makes a strong fire department.
It's your community, it's your airport. Being aware and vigilant is the best defense against the ongoing threat of terrorism. As users of the airport, you are our eyes and ears. If you see anything suspicious at or near MSP International Airport, report it to the airport police.
The very real and deliberate threat that this nation faces is not confined to the airport. If you see suspicious activity anywhere in the community, report it to your local police department. You are an important part of keeping our communities safe.
Keep an eye out and keep our airport safe.
Be aware, be vigilant, and be safe.
Every minute, my world seems to get a little smaller. My world is driving me crazy.
My world? What world? If your world is controlled by alcohol, there is hope.
We're AA, alcoholics helping other alcoholics get sober.
You'll find us in the phone book, your local newspaper, or on the web at aa.org.
Welcome back to First Responder TV. It's time for Scam Alert. This segment alerts the public on scams that have been reported to local police departments.
Individuals impersonating energy company employees are using a variety of techniques in an attempt to obtain payments for fictitious utility bills. The impersonators are attempting to gain access to the customer's funds by indicating the customer has an outstanding debt and is about to lose service. The most common technique involves the impersonators requesting payment over the phone by credit card or personal check. In another scenario, the caller will provide a fake employee name or ID number and will express the need to come to the customer's residence to repair a problem with the meter. Once at the customer's home, they'll imply the meter is broken and immediate payment is needed for repairs. Always use authorized methods to pay your gas and electric bills. You should never provide your credit card numbers or personal information to suspicious callers. Check with your utility company's customer service department to verify the issue first. If you've experienced this scam, contact South Lake Minnetonka Police Department at 952-474-3261. A new type of spam email is being spread that uses the names of FBI officials and specific units within the FBI. The email informs the recipient that 2 trunk boxes containing large sums of money were intercepted at an international airport. The boxes contain documents bearing the email recipient's name as the owner of the funds. The fraudsters warn you that an additional document called the Diplomatic Immunity Seal of Delivery is needed to protect you from violating the Patriot Act. You are required to contact the scammer by email for instructions to obtain the document and will be warned of the consequences if you fail to comply. Do not respond to these emails, they are a hoax. Government agencies and officials do not send unsolicited emails to consumers. You should not respond to any suspicious emails or click on any embedded links as they may contain viruses or malware. If you have been a victim of internet crime, file a complaint at www.ic3.gov. Identity theft scammers, pretending to work for local courts, are calling citizens and stating that they have failed to report for jury duty and a warrant has been issued for their arrest. They then ask for personal information such as your social security number, birth date, or credit card numbers for verification purposes. They'll then use this information to commit identity theft. With this scam, victims are caught off guard with the threat of a warrant being issued for their arrest. The scammers will use your emotions in an attempt to make you careless about protecting your confidential information. Court workers do not call potential jurors and ask for their personal information. Most courts use the United States Postal Service exclusively for jury matters. Never give your social security number, credit card numbers, or other personal information to someone over the phone, no matter the reason. Remember to always report any suspicious incidents to your local police department.
Thanks for watching First Responder TV, your local public safety source. If you have an idea for a segment, an upcoming public safety or fire prevention event, please let us know. This is Kellie Murphy-Ringate giving you information you can use, share, or to live by. See you next time.